In this lesson, you're going to learn how to use an iPhone, which is this thing, or an iPad as a vCam in Unreal Engine. I did this on Deadpool Wolverine. So all the main crew have used this thing, including Shawn Levy, the director. I mounted the iPad on it like that. Let's go. Hey, welcome to Real-Time Workflows. I'm MX Bell. I worked on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 1917, Hobbs and Shaw, Wheel of Time, Little Mermaid, No Time to Die, tons more. What you're going to get on the channel are my pro tips and how I use Unreal Engine to make films. So let's get started. Let's make some stuff. See you down the road. Welcome back to Real-Time Workflows. I'm MX Bell, and I did the technique that we're about to discuss, I did on Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to connect our iPad. I'm going to connect it to this laptop. Now, the reason I'm connecting it to the laptop is it's got Wi-Fi. You can do it over Ethernet, but I don't have an adapter for the iPad, so we're going to do it this way instead. So I'm going to create an entirely new project. So we're just going to name game blank, just to show you how that this is completely fresh project. Okay, so in order to get the iPad working, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Edit and Plugins, and we need Virtual Camera. We might as well add both of those. Click yes, click yes. We're going to restart in a second. We're also going to add live link, which is there. So then we hit restart now. The other thing that you're going to need to know right now is the IP address of your computer. You can find that by running command prompt and type in ipconfig, and that will give you your IP address. So the first thing we're going to do in our world is we're going to drag in, we're going to go to add a vCam actor in virtual production. I'll drag that down here, and as you know, my usual thing is I will set that to the world 0. I like that. I'm also going to give it a little bit of height. Let's call it 50, just so we're above ground. Okay, and on the iPad, I've already got a connection here with my IP address, and basically it's your IP address with a colon and then 80. The next thing we need to do is go to Pixel Streaming, and we've got our streaming server activated, and you can see here's our address. If this isn't working, you need to start it, but it is working, so we're going to hit connect on our iPad. Okay, and here we go. So, as we can see, we're using this now as a virtual camera. Now we can move as well. I don't have a lot of room to move in here, as you can see, but we can move, and it does work. So what are some things to know? When it initializes, it knows what rotation is on the camera. Okay, we can see here that the camera has kind of this kind of tilt to it, which is exactly what I've got. I've got my iPad set with the kickstand there. And we can see what it's doing in the viewport. Now if I rotate this so it sits fully flat, you can see the camera points straight down. And I pull it up here to see that. Okay, so we can see what the camera's doing. We can see if I move it, it does move, it translates, push it forward, come back. Okay. Now, so what that means is that when the camera initializes, it knows the rotation of the iPad, which is great. It doesn't know how high it is though, right? Let's analyze this. So I have now got this iPad on a desk that is, I've got my distometer here. I'll just measure the height of the desk to the ground. We are 1.139 meters standing desk, so 1.139. So let's call it 114 centimeters. Okay, so now that I've added that to the Z channel, now the camera is a little bit more my height, right? I can lift it up. So now it's human height, and you can see that in the viewport too, right? That it's human height, and that's much better. That's a much better way to be thinking about it. So the point of initialization is super important. When you connect iPad to the vCam, where you are, where the iPad starts, is not so much in rotation because it can figure that out, but where you stand, where you are, is super important. So here's what I used to do on Deadpool. I would have obviously I had a 3D model of the environment, right? Now what I've got here is a scan that I made with Polycam, you saw the other day, of my office. the very room that we're in now. So I'm going to put my iPad, I'm going to put on the very corner of the desk, which is, I'm going to use my disto to measure the edge of the desk to the wall, and it's 88 centimeters. So if I come to my top view, so the camera lens is now starting 88 centimeters from the wall. Okay, so 88 centimeters from the wall is here, so it's not far off. That's probably close enough. And this wall, and it's 100 centimeters. It's 1 meter exactly from that wall. What I might do is I might add an actor to do the offsets. So I put the actor in at world 0. There it is. Let's put the vCam underneath it. And now I should be able to move the actor back. Can. And so the actor started there. I would say it probably wants to come to about 100. There it is. So bring back to there. So I've added transparent material to my office, to the office, so we can just sort of see it. But now, because of the hierarchy, we've now got the office, the iPad, and an offset for the iPad, all hierarchied up. And now what that means is that if I wanted to say, here's a good example. So remember, I scanned those trenches. So here's my trench scan now. That's my virtual world. How are we going to connect? What we want to do is connect a virtual world to the real world. So the real world is this room, right, with the iPad with the vCam on it. Where is our virtual world going to live? Okay, so I was just doing the edit for this video and I realized I didn't actually explain why I did this. So the idea is to create a visual match between your real world, where you're doing the recording, where you've got the vCam, and the virtual world. For example, the office is very small, but outside this door is a long landing, right? Which is actually about the width of a trench. So I would set up my virtual world so that the trench runs this way, and I know that the edge of the desk is my kind of local world 0, effectively my local 0, my starting point for the vCam. So if you set up a structure in Unreal where your vCam, when it's set to 0, because it's in a structured hierarchy where the transform is being handled by the parent objects, when you set it to 0, it pops to the right place in the real world object, and you put the iPad down here, then you can initialize the vCam and pick it up and move it, and it's all in the same place, and you move the entire structure around so that you can position it in your virtual world so it best matches the space that you've got to explore. I hope that makes sense. We are going to do more of this, so if you want to see more of this, let me know and we'll do more. Right, so we can see here, if I want to start this off, I'm going to bring my virtual world up. See where the camera is, it's facing this way. So that seems like a good starting point, right? So now I've brought my virtual world up and I can lift this up now and I can have a look around my trench scan, okay? And I know exactly where I am in the virtual world because when I put the iPad back down at the starting point, I know exactly where it is in my office, which is my real world. So let's say actually I'd rather be starting in the dressing station. Okay, so we could put the starting point in the dressing station, turn the whole thing around, so we can see our office. Right, there's the window. So if I point the iPad at the window in the real world, right, but in our virtual world, we can see here. I can come down here, and I'm looking out at this. Now we've actually got a shot in the film that's here, right? We actually look here. So I can just lift. I could even lift this up here. And I can now you can control yourself with there's controls on the vCam. That's not what I'm sort of teaching here. I just want to teach you my technique for how I kind of establish where I am in the virtual world by establishing where I start the vCam. So it's kind of the vCam starting position is the main thing to learn about here. And this is all running off an iPad over Wi-Fi to this laptop. And the one other thing to mention, I just did the video on Take Recorder. You can add this a take recorder and you can record an entire camera move. You can even, as I said in the other one, you could set up, and I'm going to be doing some of this live very soon in the next few weeks, set up some characters that move and record live vCam into that sequence and record a camera move live. That's wicked. That's good fun stuff. So we're putting all these basic building blocks in, and I'm laying them all out as kind of a syllabus, but with the stuff that we're going to get to very soon, in a few lessons time, is going to be really fun creative shit like that, using this kind of stuff. So like, subscribe, all that jazz. Let's keep going. There's loads more to learn, but the practical stuff that we're going to get to very soon is what's going to be most exciting, I think. So, but we're just putting all this groundwork in first, make sure everyone's kind of on the same page. So yeah, let's fucking go.